Or we are still monitoring Ben Bernanke speaking right now in Washington, D.C., probably the most consequential economic figure on the planet right now. And he is acknowledging, as we've said, that there's a slowdown going on. You don't need an advanced economics degree to figure that. But he is also ruling out any additional stimulus, at least from the Federal Reserve, by cutting interest rates more. There's virtually no more room to do that. So he's really walking a fine line here. Because you've got these building inflationary pressures that some say he has to raise rates to address, but so far ruling that out, and very leery of what Washington can do spending-wise in its own right. We'll keep watching. In the meantime, a fellow with a different idea, creating private jobs by cutting government jobs. Republican Congressman Jason Chaffetz not only thinks it will work, he has a bill to prove his point and prove it will work. Congressman, good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So how does this work? Get rid of government guys? You get more private sector guys?
Look, we got some good federal workforce, but we have too many people and we're paying them too much money. So the idea is for every 3 people who retire, and we have something like 400,000 people that will retire over the next couple of years. They're going to have to
government?
In government, they're going to have to, for every 3 that are shed, they can only hire back 1. The fundamental problem is that President Obama has grown government. He hasn't grown the private sector jobs. Since President Obama took office until now, the net increase in the number of federal workers, 162,000 people.
Don't government workers go up in every administration?
But it's not sustainable.
Why is that?
The person that comes forward as a presidential candidate says, look, we're going to do more with less. That's how we're going to run this economy. That's how we're going to run the federal government. But we haven't done that. The president made a fundamental choice to grow government. He doesn't, I don't even think he knows how to grow private sector jobs because they're not grown by government. They're grown by the private sector.
But let's say you do get rid of a lot of government jobs, right? There are a lot of them, you're right.
Yeah.
But we're talking maybe tens of thousands over the years, potentially hundreds of thousands. But we need tens of millions of private sector jobs.
We have a federal payroll, including some of the pensions and other payouts, of $447 billion out of a $3.5+ trillion budget. It is significant. And what we're saying is
when
we
you say
have
a federal payroll of that amount,
yeah.
What are you throwing in that?
It counts the federal employees, some of their pensions, some of their payouts, but it's $447 billion.
Over how many years?
Per year. That's the annual expense that we have in our federal government. That's how much we spend on payroll and benefits and other things for our millions of federal employees.
What does that include? Defense? And
yes, it does.
Well,
yes, it does.
Okay. So you would do what? Cut the growth of that, and exponentially you think by Washington sucking up less of that, there's more for the private sector?
Yeah, we have to get, part of the way we're going to grow jobs in the economy is we got to have to rein in spending. 25 cents out of every dollar spent in this country is spent by the federal government. That's not sustainable. It's causing part of the problems that we have. So what we say, and I'm also on the budget committee, we say in the so-called Paul Ryan budget, is we're going to bring, as a percentage of GDP, spending that will come down below 20%. Because right now it's roughly 25%.
All right. We'll watch closely, Congressman. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Well, the more in-depth